This is an amazing opening trap in Italian game to knight defense. So we have the Italian game over the board. Knight is jumping on f6 to knight defense, knight g5 attacking this pawn. So we have d5, a pawn push in the center. These are theoretical moves. So we have captures. Now this knight is attacking this bishop. So we have a check, pawn moves, and we have this bishop moving on this e2 square. Now there are many theories. Now you can just push this knight away, and you don't want to play this knight move because it will ruin the structure of white's king side and it is very bad for white. So you want to move this knight back on this f3 square. Then you have this pawn push in the center. The best move here is to play this knight move, but again you can then attack it with this bishop or with the queen. So white will try to defend it multiple times. That is why many a times this knight goes back to the initial square, but you have a wonderful move with this bishop. And now many times white plays this pawn push, challenging this pawn so that this knight can come into the game. But you have a wonderful move here. You can bring this queen into the game, threatening a checkmate. Now you have to prevent it. You don't have this knight move because you will just capture it and you are still threatening the checkmate. So you will win a piece for free. The best move here is to defend it with this bishop. Now you capture this pawn. Obviously if you capture here, you are winning the exchange and you can win this game from here. But obviously white will try to save it and he will play this knight move. Then you capture here. After captures, you can bring this queen into the game. Now you see this position. Black's king side is really bad and this knight is not into the game. Rook is stuck and this rook is also not doing anything. So the main threat is because of this pawn. So you might expect this pawn captures and now this knight can come into the game, but you have a stunning move. You can sacrifice this bishop, and if white goes for your bishop, you can just capture it. And if white is not careful and captures here, you can win the rook and you will win the game from here. You just castle from here and you will win this game from here. So obviously after this capture, white will realize this knight is not capturable. So he will try to defend this rook. Then you just capture here. Now this queen is attacked, so you might want to save it, but this is not going to work. Now you can just bring this rook into the game or play any of the moves. Let's say you bring the rook into the game. Now you are attacking this knight, so you might expect this knight move, but you have a wonderful move with this knight. You just move it back and you are pinning this knight. Obviously you can't castle because you will just lose this knight for free. So obviously the best move here is to bring this rook here, but you again attack this rook, and once the rook moves, you attack this knight further with other knight. And now you see the combination of both these knights. So the best move here is to castle, and now you capture here. Before capturing this knight, you want to capture here, deflect the queen from here, and after this capture you are simply winning the exchange and you can win the game. This is pinned and you can bring the other rook into the game and this would be completely winning for you. So let's see the other lines. After this capture, checks, you can also expect this knight move. Then again you can set up the trap for white and you can just capture it here, or even bring the rook into the game with this, and this knight will always be pinned. And you can use the fact that if white just castles, then you can just grab a piece here and you are going to win this knight on the spot and you will win this game from here. And also there are some threats of this queen captures this pawn, and this is going to be very great game for you and you will win this game from here. This knight can come, this rook is already there and you can just castle, and this pin is not, obviously you don't have to capture, and this pin is not going to be over. And once you capture here, you can win this knight. So you might expect, after this castle is not there, you might expect this bishop move. Then there are some theories. You can just develop this knight, and the same threat is alive. If you capture, you just capture here, or you can just take the rook, because this is pinned, you don't need to capture, you just take the rook and this rook is pinned. So you don't want to capture with this queen. If you capture here, then you just lose the game. You will have to block it, otherwise if you don't block, the rook is going to be lost. So you deliver again this check, the queen blocks, and you will win this game from here, and there is nothing to do for white. So let's see the other lines. After this check, obviously after this move, this knight is coming. Then we have some theoretical moves. This bishop can go also here. Then many beginners make this mistake and pushes this pawn. It's obviously bad. You can just capture it, and this is simply a pawn for white. So you don't want to play this move. And many beginners nowadays are playing this pawn push. They think that the theory I told you in the earlier the variation, this theory will still work, but this is not there. If you bring this knight here, this is simply lost. You just pin this, and if the queen comes into the game, you bring the queen into the game and you will win one of the pieces. So this is not the theory. So after this, white can respond with this knight move, and you will see a capture here. And many beginners made the mistake by playing this pawn push, but this is obviously lost position, and black is just losing on the spot. You have this queen check and you are winning on the spot, and many of my opponents have just resigned the game on this position. You will have to move the king. You don't have this because you just capture it. So once you move it, once you move the king, you can just capture it here, and threat is very much this knight can come into the game, and even you can push this pawn, and this bishop threat is also alive because this pawn is pinned. This pawn is pinned, you cannot capture with the pawn if this bishop is going to come on this g5 square. So you can use this fact and you can win this game from here, and the king is still in the center. You just castle and win the game.